See? So when you are afraid, pay attention to what we do naturally. We begin to imagine naturally. I, this really isn't up for debate. I'm telling you what we do as people. We get into a pickle, get into a jam. I don't even know if we talk about food that way, but we get into a little bit of a bind, shall I say. And we start to, I'm gonna tell you the one that's most, what if they disconnect my water? What if they disconnect my lights? What if they disconnect my gas? Well, in the winter they can't. They can limit you though. Oh, oh my God, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna keep these kids warm? How am I gonna feed these kids? What am I, who can I call? What can I take back? What can I sell? You see what we do? How can I hustle a little harder? You see what we do? But what if, and I keep saying the only reason why we do it that way is because we have practiced that way. That's the only reason why. Because we've practiced it that way. So now that you know what we do, what do you want to do instead? Because you're now deciding the type of person, the man or woman you want to become. Do you want to become the man of fear, or do you want to become the man of courage? Well, the determining factor would be which one you practice more. Which one do you want to practice more? That has to be a deliberate choice. So today, whatever that thing is that you may be feeling, whatever that thing is that you consider to be the problem, well, clearly you can see the problem, you know the solution, do you not? What is the thing that would fix it? That's the solution. So, what are you going to do? You're not going to try and solve it by running from pillar to post and hither and yon. You're not going to do it that way. Why? Because that is the way of effort. Oh, yes, it is. And we could run all day. You got the mind of David Goggins, you can run all day. But as Neville said, if you're going to be the man of sense, meaning you will be dictated to by what you see and what you hear, and that's how you'll act, well, that's the man of sense. But if you want to be the man of imagination, you start seeing it the way it ought to be instead of the way it is. And as I've said, we do this naturally only because we've practiced it for such a long time. This is why we persist, because persistently you did the same thing. You see, we keep thinking that there's some kind of secret stratagem. No, watch your nature and you'll see that the problem and the solution got the same root, the same source: persistence. We persistently do something, but do you know what you persistently do? That's why sometimes we have to stop what we're doing and observe ourselves. But you know what we do instead when we stop? Oh my God, you're such a loser. Oh my God, you're so dumb. How come you can't get it? Everybody else around you is doing it and successful, and look at you in the corner, still nobody. That's what we do naturally. We want to jump in there and beat ourselves up. Listen, the world is out there already beating everything down, and you're going to put yourself in the mix? Nah, you better start uplifting yourself. That is practice as well. Because we've been doing it one way. So the same way that you can drag yourself is the same way you can elevate. Well, you think they're two different people? No, you just made a choice. You just went left instead of right. So how are you going to practice it? When you catch yourself doing the undesirable thing. Oh my God, the sky is falling. When you catch yourself, say, whoa, wait a minute. No, 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 no. What's the best case scenario? What's the best way this could possibly turn out? And you start to mull it over in your mind because that's what you were doing over there. I keep telling you, you're not doing anything different. You're not doing something far-fetched. You're already doing it. It's just you practice one way more than the other. That's all. So to make your life simpler, somebody sent me a message this morning and said, Angela, I just appreciate the simplicity of the principles. And I was like, indeed, the simplicity of them. And I responded to that message with, well, God is gracious. All we have to do is put the seed in the ground and it grows, it sprouts. It shoots and then it sprouts. The hardest thing we got to do is plant the seed. That's the hardest thing we get to do is plant the seed. But then the seed does its own thing. So your scenario is the seed. The hardest thing you got to do is find the one that feels the best to you. That's the hardest thing you got to do. And when I say hard, I mean, that's it. All I got to do is come up with the scenario. Yes. But you see, you don't just come up with it. When you come up with it, believe it. Believe it. It came from you. It came from you. So believe it. Yes? So when you catch yourself wanting to do the old, we're told to put away the old man. You put away the old man by putting on the robe and the shoes and the hat of the new man. And you start to see what you're becoming. And you'll get excited about what you're becoming. And when you start getting excited about what you are becoming, you stay there, don't you? You stay in that mood. You persistently experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. That is what you persistently do. And then in tutus, that's how you say it in Barbados, and tutus just so, or in two shakes of a lamb's tail, you'll be the first one to say, wait, I did change. How did I change? And then we want to act all surprised. How did I change? Because you persistently did the new thing. That's how you changed. Hello? So today, my beautiful friends, catch yourself when you're doing the old so you can redirect yourself to do the new. And when you do the new, and you do the new, and you do the new, there's something else that you know you're doing. What would that be? Is that a neurological pathway you're setting down in your brain? Oh my God. Yes. And as you set down that new neurological pathway, you become a prophet. Do you know why? Because you can predict what you'll be doing. Well, the neurological pathway only leads to one behavior, and that is what you laid it down to be. That is why you persist. Because it is in the persisting that you form the new pathway. And the new pathway is what you're going to follow, what you're going to do, what you're going to live out in your new life. So today, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me. Observe yourself and you'll see what you're doing. And then you'll know. Then you'll know. You will know. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Because I know Honey was probably singing it anyway. But you'll know. You'll know through your observation. Don't be afraid to look at yourself. Do you know what a privilege that is? To be able to see yourself? Oh, yes. Because when you see yourself, you can catch those things before somebody else does. Because you know what scripture tells you. Speck of dust in your eye, for you can see a plank in somebody else's. That's your cue to check yourself. Eric, I couldn't help myself right there, though. You got to check yourself. Catch what you're doing. And the more you catch yourself and redirect yourself, you will stay where you now redirected yourself as your new set point. Remember the baby? The baby's got a whole bunch of toys, but something shiny over there is calling it. Oh, look, the stove is so shiny. You know, that Maytag stainless steel, mommy, look. Let me put my fingerprints all over it. And you're like, So every time you catch the baby going towards the stove, you pick it up, put it back in front of its toys. Oh, look, mommy, the stove. Pick it up, put it back in front of the toys. Mommy, the stove. Pick it up, put it back. You get the point. It goes, you pick it up, you bring it back. But the reason I say the baby and not the hen, because that hen gonna run. And you're gonna have to chase it. But the baby is slower moving. So you gently pick it up because it's a baby. It is soft and delicate. Gently pick it up and put it where you want it to go. Why? Now, why would you holler at the baby? The baby doesn't understand what you're saying because it doesn't know language just yet. But the more you speak to it, the neurons begin to fire and it learns. So you gently pick up that baby. Hey, sweetie, look at your toys. Look at this toy. And you squeeze it, squeak it, right? And the baby's fascinated. And you put it right there. But then something calls it back to the stove. Curiosity. What you gonna do, kick the baby? No. So if you wouldn't holler at the baby, shake the baby, kick the baby, why would you do it to you? And our minds, they do wander like ants at a picnic, all over the place. But gently pick it up and put it where you want it. So instead of the, oh my God, worst case scenario, pick it up gently and say, ooh, look at all these best case scenarios over here. See which one catches your eye. But I like the worst. No, let's look at the best case. I like the worst. Let's look at the best case. And the more you do that, eventually, your baby will stay in play and it may look at that stove, but it won't go there because every time it knows, every time it goes, it is put right back somewhere else. So it stays where you put it. Oh, indeed. That's exactly what happens to your brain. And so be gentle. That's the thing here. You put it where you want it to be, right? But you make where you want it to be appear to be more enjoyable. Well, isn't that what you're doing with the baby? There's nothing over there at the stainless steel. But look at all of these toys. Mind you, nothing under a certain size because you don't want the baby to choke. Right? So you gently redirect the self. Gently. Man, why am I not getting it? No, no, no. Oh, but look at this best case scenario. What if I came through this situation and it ended up like this? Yeah. Man, that one could work. I'm gonna put that in the basket. But what about this one over here? If I, and you name it, you say, yeah. And it changed the whole situation, and people are like, oh my God, what did you do? How did you fix that? You see what you do? Over and over and, but how long is it gonna take? Well, here's the thing. The more persistent you are in the redirection, the shorter it takes. Yes. The more persistent you are in the redirection, the shorter amount of time it takes for you to stay there. Because you're not interrupted, that's why. But once the baby touches that thing, that stainless steel, man, you got to start all over again. Why? Because you want to program the baby to do what you want it to do. Well, you thought you were doing something else. You're programming yourself. And don't you think it is better to program yourself than to be programmed? Do you know why? Because when you program yourself, you know the outcome. But when somebody else programs you, you don't know the outcome. Because you're busy being programmed. But as long as you are the one doing the programming, you have already chosen the outcome. So you know how it's going to go. But when somebody else comes along and subtly programs you, slyly programs you, oh, yes. They come along and whisper sweet nothings to you and tell you all these things. Oh, you do this, blah, 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 blah. And you get so caught up in the feeling, you don't see the outcome. And let me tell you something, Linda. When somebody puts a lot of effort and time into programming you, you can bet your bottom dollar that outcome ain't gonna be for your benefit. Huh? So it is best to pay attention to yourself so that you can see what you are doing and then deliberately decide how you're going to reprogram yourself. Of course, you could do it once. You could do one way and program yourself by using repetition, because repetition works. But if you want to do this thing and do it well, do the repetition with feeling, because it is, what did Maya Angelou say? People may never remember what you said to them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And what does that say to you and I today? The thing felt is the thing that leaves a lasting impression. So use repetition and feeling together. Two birds, one stone. For what? Your greatest and highest good. Listen, I trust that makes sense to you today. I trust it makes sense to you today, because sometimes we struggle needlessly because we don't understand the process. And it's not that because there's a process. It's that it is observation. And when you observe, you see what is happening. When you observe it, you see it. And when you see it, but you can't unsee it. For one, right? So today, when you go through the day, listen, to be afraid is humanly natural. Oh, yes, it is. Just like it is to be curious, just like it is to be inquisitive. And that's a word I'm well acquainted with. Inquisitive. All of those are natural things to feel. But now, use it. Use it. You're afraid of this thing. You do not allow the fear to cripple oneself. Because then you're remaining where you are in the fear. And that's not what you want. You want to change. So recognize what you're doing when you're afraid. Recognize what you're doing when you're angry. Recognize what you're doing when you're feeling frustrated. Just begin to recognize what you are doing. Remember, be angry, but sin not. Remember what the lecture was? You can be mad. Why? Man, you want to tell me what to do? but I want to change my own life. And you persist in what? Rehearsing in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be, so that you don't what? Miss your mark, miss your objective. To sin, in other words, is to fall short of what? The objective. So today, my beautiful friends, it just takes a moment to observe ourselves. Observe yourself and redirect yourself. What are you redirecting yourself to? The outcome. And what's the outcome? The end. And if we live from the end, we live from the end, imagining creates reality. But if we keep living of the past, we redo the past, thereby making it present. I trust that makes sense. I ain't keeping y'all in here today because you know how it is. I gotta get to work. Work, work, work. Yep, sure do. You know Caesar. And here's the thing, right? We know Caesar. What do you mean by Caesar, Angela? Caesar's always out here in these streets talking about, where's my money? Caesar out here talking about, where's my money? Where my rent? Where my bills? That you know Caesar. But here's the thing. Don't be afraid of Caesar. Caesar will always get what he's due. But you see, you and your objective is to what? Never have to worry about Caesar. Because Caesar, you meet Caesar. And you just say, here, Caesar. Caesar don't ever have to ask you because you're always ready for Caesar, which means what? You are well provided for. So then you start to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. And you say, Caesar ain't got nothing on me. I got Caesar on autopilot. I got Caesar on auto pay. Put Caesar on auto pay. And how do you get Caesar on auto pay? Well, experience in imagination. If that means you can set up all your bills for automatic debit, and you say, whew, now that right there, yeah, that's nice. I set it and forget it. I don't have to think about Caesar. I don't got to think about, he's always paid. Because I always got. And I always got more than required. This is what we begin to experience in imagination. Because it is what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. Secure. And we start to feel that security within. But the security is not in things on the outside. The security is where? You and how you use the principles. That's the security. Security! Call it in. Right? Anywho, you may get. Oh. I don't know if you can hear him from all the way over there. Every time I cough, my boy is concerned for his mama, so he clucking. He may sing again, I don't know. But you might. But when you hear the chime this morning, I want you to feel good. Why? Because the windows of heaven are open. Oh, the windows of heaven are open. The blessings are falling tonight. There's joy, joy, joy in my soul since Jesus made everything right. What is it? How does the rest of it go? He gave me a something, something, and he gave me a robe of pure white. And I'm feasting on the honey of Canaan. And that's why I'm happy tonight. And I used to sing that as a little girl, too. Because the windows of heaven are open. He says, test me and see if I don't open it up. Oh, but test him how? By persisting in the thing in your imagination that you would be doing. And at the very beginning, I told you how we did it. We played through those worst case scenarios like they going out of style. Well, play through the best case scenarios like they can't go out of style. That's how you test. And which one is going to make you feel the best when you play it out? Then that's the one you experience in imagination. What you would be doing if you were the man or the woman you said you wanted to become. That's where we roll. Let me get the chime. Well, you know, Twitter is as Twitter does. Yo, Gavin, I see you. Gavin and Ari on YouTube. Miss McQueen. Amen. Oracle Treehouse. Hey, Casey. Honey. Ray. Miss Order Deborah. Flo Smiles, I see you. Ow. Let's play the chime. Thank you all for being here. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you all for being here on this lovely Tuesday. Go forth today, and when you are afraid, watch yourself. And then do what? Turn towards the best case scenario over and over and over and over, and it shall materialize in your world. Not because I say so, but because it is law, it is principle. And tonight, if you want to fall asleep with us, with the Neville Goddard lecture, I don't know which one it'll be yet, but I'm sure it's going to be lit. I'll see you tonight right here on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Fanbase, and Twitter. TikTok? I can't remember which one I said, but I will see you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know I love you. Peace out. Twitter is closed.